Hello, this is Julie. This PowerPoint presentation is a walkthrough of how to perform a UOTeach applicant file review. Thank you so much for being willing to review graduate applications for UOTeach. I hope this presentation is helpful in guiding you through the process of looking at a student's file and giving us a sense of their abilities to join us in UOTeach. Thanks again. This presentation will offer an overview of the file review process. The presentation is not terribly long, and the steps are as follows. The beginning of the presentation will review the program commitments in teacher preparation. Then I'll review the admissions cycle and the admissions process. Next, I'll introduce you to the online application file review process. I'll provide you with step-by-step screen walkthrough of the online admissions system. I'll provide you with an understanding of the scoring rubric, show you how to record the application into the GradWeb system, and then give you some contact information at the end if you have questions. The UOTeach program is organized into three core ideas. These three principles are at the heart of the program's philosophy. A strong foundation in relevant subject matter knowledge is essential to effective teaching. An understanding of the sociocultural context of learning, teaching, and schooling is essential to effective teaching. And helping students make connections between the sociocultural context of their lives and relevant subject matter knowledge requires that teachers be critical thinkers and reflective practitioners. Below are the 5 basic steps for the admissions process for UOTeach. Initial admissions process is the application. UOTeach applications are done online at the graduate school. Next comes the file review. UOTeach affiliated faculty will now review 140 applications during the last 2 weeks of January. Approximately half of these applicants are for the elementary program and half are for the middle and high school program. Files receive an administrative review prior to this process to assure applicants have the basic qualifications for the program. Next comes interview selection. After the formal file review, advancing applicants will be moved forward to the panel interview portion of the process. Panel interviews. About 5 applicants at a time will sign up for an interview session during the first 3 weeks of February. A pair of UOTeach faculty will observe and evaluate each panel interview session. And finally, the admissions offers. Admissions offer letters and program conduct agreements will be sent to selected candidates during the first week of March. The primary focus of this presentation is on the application process for UOTeach. So I thought it would be good to take a moment to look at our application objectives and what it is we hope to achieve when we have candidates filling out the UOTeach application. The primary objective of the application is to identify promising teacher candidates. To do that, we have to define what we believe a promising teacher candidate is. The Department of Education Studies is committed to supporting and developing these K-12 teachers for Oregon, and we believe that excellent teacher candidates come to teaching from many backgrounds. We believe excellent teacher candidates are culturally curious and invested in education as a tool for a more just and equitable society. We believe excellent teacher candidates are connected to and engaged in working with youth already. And we believe excellent teacher candidates have a love of learning and a strong content knowledge background. Now, with that overview in mind, the remaining slides will walk you through the procedures for doing a file review of an applicant. It takes a big team to review 140 applications. So let me tell you how we went through the process of getting a group together to make this happen. All EDST tenure line faculty, all UOTeach core instructors, all field supervisors, our postdocs, and some doctoral students with a connection to UOTeach, along with the UOTeach administrative team, were surveyed and asked to contribute some time to reviewing some applications. This happens each year. Each person was asked to review 4 or more applications. Once we got back our survey information, Amy began to assign students. Those who responded that they were able to participate were electronically assigned a handful of applications to review. Next, that information was placed into GradWeb, and reviewers were sent a link to the number of the specific individual applications that they would review. And finally, we're at today where you're getting your file review training. You can watch this video, or you can come in and go over the file review training at a scheduled time. Okay, now we're down to the details. You were asked to do file reviews. You replied with the number you could do. You've received an email from Amy inviting you into the GradWeb, and now it's time to log on and begin to review your files. How do you get in and see the applications? Below you can see the web address for the grad school's main login. When you get there, you'll use the DuckID login, which is the first part of your email account, and your DuckID password. When you've opened that up, you'll see the following screen. Here you are, your login worked, and you're on the main page of the GradWeb. Welcome to GradWeb. In the upper left corner, click Online Apps and the navigation bar at the top of the screen. There you'll find a drop-down menu. Here you are in the drop-down menu. This step is simple. Click Admissions Application. That's going to take you to the correct next page. Okay, on the left column under Login, you'll see a list of students. Find and select a student from the group of students that you've been pre-assigned. You should have a short list here once Amy gets you all assigned. Here we go. We're looking at a student's overview of their file. As you note from the tabs across the top, you can look at the application all embedded in a web format. There's the personal information, their academic history, which includes their transcripts, their letters of recommendation, which are their 3 references, which may be informal letters or inserted in a text box, and finally their departmental application, which has their testing information, a text box filled with their personal information about working with youth, a note of any outstanding achievements, a posting of the resume, and a link to their statement of purpose. Those top tabs have all of the overall information, and you can jump from tab to tab to see their application. You can also follow that red arrow at the top to view the full application online, or click the arrow on the right and a full PDF of their entire application will come up. People have different preferences. You can look at the application in any of those ways, and the hyperlinks to all of the attached files will work in all of those formats. Play with this a little to decide what the best way is for you to look at it. If you've looked things over a little bit in an individual file, just to familiarize yourself with what their applications look like, now you're about ready to look at the scoring sheet and start the scoring process. In looking at the scoring sheet, you're going to see that there are 4 different fields where students accrue points in the scoring process. Those core competencies areas are background working with youth, recommendations, statement of purpose, and their resume. Okay, If you scan over the application scoring guide, you'll see those same 4 areas broken into 4 subsections for points. There's both an elementary application scoring guide and a secondary application scoring guide. The scoring guides are nearly identical. I'll explain the difference in a second. But overall, you have these areas to focus on as you read through the application in a holistic way. You don't have to look for points in individual sections. As you read through, any spaces that touch on the relevant criteria can be included in your final scores under each setting. Quick side note reminder, all of our applicants have already passed through the baseline application criteria. You're strictly reviewing now for their experiences, their statement of purpose, their recommendations, and their resume. Because they've already passed the basic criteria, you're primarily seeking outstanding candidates as well as making notes of any red flag indicators in any of the applications. There's no programmatic demand that any of the candidates be ranked against one another, and there's no programmatic demand that we eliminate some applicants. Instead, we are vetting applications for diverse, qualified backgrounds to join the ranks of K-12 teachers. And here's a quick look at the secondary scoring guide. And you'll see, if you have it in front of you, that the only difference between this scoring guide and the elementary scoring guide is the little box at the top. That box is for noting the transcript review for secondary candidates. If you are one of our secondary application reviewers, we are asking you to take some time to look at the applicant's transcript. We don't need a detailed analysis at this point. We're asking you to note any highlights, strengths, or perhaps missing content knowledge a candidate might have for the secondary program. Inside the academic history portion, you'll see a link to open a candidate's transcript. Within that space, when you open it, you can look over the materials, and then at the top of the UOTeach rubric, indicate any notes you have to highlight about their background training in their content area. Well, now I think we're all about ready to begin to actually score an application. The department application has a series of questions which each require a short response. This is a good place to begin. You'll see the department application as a tab at the top of the page. If you click that page and read over the information on that page, you're beginning to develop an understanding of a particular candidate. This will help you to prepare for the remainder of the rubric. Okay, you've looked over a student's file, you're inside the system, and you're about to look over the scoring sheet to get a grasp of how the scoring sheet works for UOTeach. When you look at that scoring sheet more closely, you see that there's a 5-point scale for each criteria question. The 5-point rubric has a 1 for the lowest or least evidence and a 5 for exceptional evidence within any criterion. If you take a few minutes to scan through the average and exceptional criteria, that should help you move through this rather quickly. Feel free to put any notes onto the paper as you're going through and you're reading the application, any spaces that you find evidence or you highlight concerns. When it comes to scoring a candidate's recommendations, the recommendations can be turned in 2 different formats. Some people recommended by simply filling in text boxes, while other people wrote recommendation letters and had them attached. In either case, there are 3 different spaces to score on letters of recommendation. We want to know if recommenders noted professional experience working with youth. We want to know if recommenders noted communication and leadership qualities. And we want to know if the recommenders noted work ethic or interpersonal skills. In each of those areas, you can look at the 1, 3, and 5 scores below and then read through recommendation letters. We will be scoring some candidates without all recommendations turned in. So don't worry, if there's only 2 letters, it's still important to score the candidate on their recommendations. After you've looked through the recommendations, it's time to look at the candidate's statement of purpose. I wanted to read through the prompt for you so you would know precisely what the candidate was asked to think and write about when they were given the task of writing a statement of purpose. The prompt is, in 500 words or less, your essay should describe your vision of the kind of teacher you want to be and how you gained that vision. It should include significant aspects of your social educational background, your personal qualities, your experiences, and/or your convictions, particularly as they enhance your potential to work with diverse students. This is also a good place to reflect your experiences related to social justice and diverse populations, particularly how these experiences have affected your conception of teaching. Remember, this essay should demonstrate the best of your written communication skills. The candidate's resume offers us a different window into their capacities for professional practice. When you open a candidate's resume, you're looking to see any unique experience they've had toward this professional graduate program, and you're also looking to see what their professional capacities are in just simply developing a resume to communicate their background. Once you've scored an entire application, you'll have a series of points on your rubric. When you add those up, the most you can have is 45 points total. You're going to have to convert whatever score you have into a 1 to 10 scale for the graduate school rating system. So this table tells you what to convert your points into based on conversion from the 45-point rubric to the 10-point scale of the grad school. This is great. You're almost done with this first application. Now that you have a score from 1 to 10, you're going to post that final score on the grad web. You'll see the tabs again across the top with the final tab on the right saying rating. On grad web, you're going to do 3 things. A, you're going to make a recommendation, recommended or not recommended. B, you're going to put your point rating. And C, you're going to put any detailed comments that you'd like to be seen. Finish up by selecting Update or Mark as Pending for any late ratings, and then repeat that with each of your candidates that you've rated until your candidates all have a rating on the system. Almost to the end. Now that you've recorded all of the scores, ratings into GradWeb, you have a little paperwork to turn in. The paperwork that you have on electronic, you can send to uoteach@uoregon.edu. And paperwork you have that's physical paper can be dropped into the application review box in Suite 124 of Loki. Oh my goodness, we're down to the last 2 slides. The last 2 slides are just basic information. Program contacts for questions are listed below. If you have any questions, you can contact Amy Harder. She's the UOTeach Student Services Coordinator. Kara Whipple, who is the Elementary Practicum Coordinator. Robin Patterson is the Middle High School Practicum Coordinator. Abby Lane is the ESOL Endorsement Coordinator. And I'm the Program Director. And there you have it. We're at the final slide. Thank you so very much for being willing to go through the process of reviewing files. UOTeach is an amazing program, and it's very exciting to know that we work together to put new teachers into the school year after year. Thanks to each of you, to your commitment to the students of UOTeach, to the faculty, and to the field of education. That's all. Goodbye.